There we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome again. Sorry about that little kerfuffle. I hope everyone's doing well today. We're going to be dissolving some traumas. So thank you, everyone, for coming and for your generous donation. Some of you were very generous indeed. So I appreciate your generosity and for being here. So we're going to have some fun today. What we're going to do, the structure of this situation is I am going to, first of all, still people's minds. I'm going to give people a couple of minutes just to come in. And then I'm going to pull a lucky person onto, hang on, I've got someone in the waiting room, admit. I'm going to pull a lucky person onto stage and we're going to dissolve or delete their trauma. I've got some new techniques that I want to share with you. And then we're going to do some traumas for everybody. Is that cool with everyone? Yeah? Awesome. If you have any questions, do put them in. I know someone's just messaged and said something sweet. Let me open the chat as well. Hi, Stephanie. I adore you. Want to be a healer just like you. Well, join the tribe. So thank you very much for being here. Right. Hopefully we've got everybody in. Before we start, are there any questions? Type them away for me. Anyone want to know anything before we start on what we're going to be doing? I'm going to try to talk slowly, although I get overexcited and talk really quickly. So sorry about that. That's just who I am. Yes. Please pick you, Gale. Why, what's going on with you, Gale? Oh, people are going to tell me what's going on. All right, so she's going to tell us what's going on with her, but maybe she'll get picked, but I'll get to all of you anyway. We're all going to get things healed today. So, my loves, what I'm going to do is still your monkey minds. Patra, can't get the video to work. I don't know how to help you there, sweetie. Okay, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You don't need to have your video playing. It just means we can't see your beautiful face, but that doesn't matter at all. And I love it that I can see some of your beautiful faces. It's no problem either way. Okie dokie. So what I'm going to do is still your minds. So people think that stilling their mind is actually quite different to what I think stilling people's minds is. It's not actually. A bit bright there. There we go. I don't think it's what people think it is. I think there are lots of multidimensional beings who are saying all sort of nonsense to us. And it's not actually our thoughts. This monkey mind isn't really us. So I come from a whole different way of thinking about these things. And stilling the monkey mind meditation does get you there. And so do other light practices, yoga and other beautiful practices can help you still the mind. But the reason they do that is because you have more light within and you are less susceptible to these beings who want to feed on you. Oopsie, hang on a second, I'm admitting these people. Yeah, so you're less susceptible to these beings who want to feed on you. That's basically how it works. So the more light you cultivate, the less easy you are to eat from. It's similar to what a lion would do in the Masai Mara. What they would do is they choose a weak or a young, an old or a young gazelle, for example, and they go for that one because it looks like an easy target. So they go for the easy targets, these multidimensional beings, because we are seeing significantly less than 1% of the world around us, significantly less. And actually, there are these multidimensional beings who are feeding on us. So what happens with these beings is we are not top of the food chain. So I'm just going to mute everyone. Mute current new participants. Yes, we are not top of the food chain, unfortunately. There are other beings feeding on us, and there's a guy called Leonard Lewowski who's figured this out in labs where he's got strands of DNA, and when you project negative thoughts towards them, they unravel, and photons, which are particles of light, leak. And when you have positive, loving thoughts, then your strands of DNA wind and heal. And that's what enlightening is, or enlightenment is. It's about light cultivation. So the less you're leaking, the more light that you have within, because you're not being fed on by these beings. Does that make sense so far? Everyone with me? Good. Hopefully you know a bit of my stuff and it doesn't sound too wacky. So what I can do, and what I can do is to prove this point, is still your minds. So what I'm actually going to do when I still your minds, what's his name? Leonard Lewowski, Charlene? Leonard Lewowski. This is David Wilcock. It's his research, and he's absolutely blooming brilliant as far as I'm concerned. I'm a big fan of David. So this is what he said. But it's lab experiments that have discovered it, and it is literal photons, particles of light, which are leaking out. So what I can do is still your monkey minds is to actually put a force field around you between you and them. And then you won't have brain chatter. And that's how it works. So then your brain chatter quiet and you go, oh my goodness, she must be onto something because my mind's never been this quiet before. So that's what we're going to do now. So I'm just going to do that for everyone. Is everyone cool with that? Does it make sense to everyone? Right? Cool. Thank you, everybody. I love your interactions. All righty. So just please sit comfortably, lay down if that's more comfortable to you. It's not going to take that long. It's only going to be a couple of minutes because I can do it very quickly. And then relax. Oh, Lucy, do you have a question, sweetie? Have you got your hand up, I believe? I think there's a hand up from Lucy. Asked to unmute before we do it. Lucy, did you have a question? Or is she
No, it's fine. Sorry, that was an accident.
No problem. Don't you worry. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, please sit comfortably, and I'm just going to put a force field around you, and your minds will go lovely and still and quiet, and then we'll get to the next stage. Let's go. And if anyone who's watching this video later, it will work the same, so just do exactly the same process as the live people now. Okay, I'll keep going. Okay, everyone should now be still, but I'll give you a few moments to just sit within that stillness. Okay. How's that feeling? Does anyone want to tell me? Is anyone feeling nice and still who would like to share? You can talk on screen if you like. Michelle, you look like you might be interested. You're leaning forward in that unmuting button way.
I was actually typing.
Okay, you can talk to me live. Thank you for typing. But yeah, how's it feeling, my love?
I actually feel calm. I kept hearing the word calm in my inner thoughts. Just calm.
And now do you normally have quite a lot of chatter in your mind, a monkey mind?
At times, not a lot. There are times, yeah, when I'm really all over the place, thinking a million things. And now that I'm thinking about it, not thinking about it, there's nothing.
Yeah, nice and still.
Yeah, there's nothing coming in except what I'm saying right this moment.
That's it. Because the rest of it is something else. Isn't that weird?
It is. Why do you need to do that? I need to ask you, like, why do you need to do that for people? Like,
to still their minds. I just think it's nice to prove that you've got these multidimensional beings feeding on you, and then I can go on to the next stage and show that a lot of our traumas, a lot of our diseases is because they're eating us. It's them saying horrible things to us, which then make us react largely. You know, they're bullying internally, and then we get fixated. Diseases are caused by condensed and compressed thoughts, and they're the ones who are bullying us and saying, you're too much of this, you're not enough of this, go do this, don't do that. All of that sort of stuff are what we are considering to be our thoughts. They're not. There's something beyond. There's something which is actually trying to sabotage us to get their dinner.
Wow.
Pretty wild, right?
Freaking wild. I love it.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm going to answer some of the questions in the type box. So let me read this. How long will it last? I enjoy not having my monkey mind. Good for you, Amor. Yeah, not very long. Sorry about that. It's a couple of hours. It's not a permanent fix. Although, if I think I teach this in maybe level 7. What you need to do to really permanently get rid of it is to work through your traumas, so you don't have like, what are they called? Bullseyes on your chest. So if you actually delete all of these different traumas from your system, then they haven't got anywhere to access. That's the better way of doing it. I've just put a force field around you. It's like taking a paracetamol or something. It's a stopgap. It's lovely for now, but it's not actually solving the problem. It's just masking the problem. So what you need to do is actually go through, either work with me, one of my practitioners, or do the courses yourself and actually go through all your stuff and delete all your stuff, so that you don't have this stuff which is literally you're sapping light. And they're like, "Ooh, you've got a trigger point around betrayal, for example," and then then you'll be inviting those situations in, because what happens is there's a dark side of the law of attraction that people don't really talk about, and I find that a bit silly. The dark side of the law of attraction is if something's in your energy field, you're inviting it, which means that if you haven't gotten over horrible things that happened to you in childhood, you're actually inviting the universe for them, because there's no judgment on it. It's just you thinking about something, and what you're thinking about, you're attracting. Whether you think it's good or whether you think it's bad, wherever your thoughts go brings things into you. So if you haven't, I don't know, maybe there was, as I said, betrayal, something like that happened in your childhood growing up, maybe one of your parents betrayed the others or whatever. If you've not processed that, you're inviting that more in. That's your trigger point, and there's more energy there, because these beings are like, "Ooh, you've got a thing around betrayal," so they bring you more betrayal because you're fixated on it, and then that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, which some people think is karma, but it's actually not cleaning out your system. So once you clear these things out, you have a quiet mind and you stop attracting rubbish situations to yourself. So that's the answer to that. I usually get loads. Kirsty says, I usually get loads of mind chatter and sometimes can be overwhelming. Yes. I'm going to do an anxiety healing, I think, in the next few weeks as well. Yeah, I think I'm going to do a minimum donation one. I haven't worked it all out yet, but I think I'm going to do one for manifesting money and one for anxiety, and do a group healing, because I can work on mass. So I think it makes sense to make it much more affordable to people to be working in large numbers. So I think that's the way I want to be going with things a little bit. I'm just going to mute you, Lucy. Thank you. Yes. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do an anxiety one, because I can do at least 12 to 20,000 people in one go. I can be doing stadiums. So yeah, I may as well start doing bigs, and then it makes it much more affordable, because I'm expensive. So let's make it accessible and affordable to people. I don't. Yeah, it's me. Everyone's. I have a solution, Gale. What's your solution? What's your
I
solution?
do. My solution is, every time I have chatter, negative chatter in my head, I immediately draw myself together and say, I reject that thought completely. That is not my thought. Go away. And works.
Nice.
Love it.
So there's a top tip for everybody listening. Gale, well done. Lucy's saying, I had a mammogram recall today, and so my head was in a spin, feeling calmer. Fantastic, glad to hear it. Stephanie, my mind is always going constantly, to the point I don't sleep at night. I don't have any thoughts at all right now, but simultaneously got a headache. Oh, is your headache still there? You shouldn't be having a headache. That's awful. Strange. That's really bad that you can't sleep at night. The anxiety healing might be very good for you, my love. Let's get rid of them, because that's more of a permanent fix. This one is, so this mind chatter is not a permanent fix. This is a demonstration of mind chatter and what mind chatter is. The stuff we're about to do on traumas, permanent fix. The anxiety stuff will be a permanent fix. So maybe come to that one, and that will help you, because that will be mind chatter as well. Okay. What happens if you may not know the trauma and not level 7? Do you know it? As long as you know it vaguely, I can do whole things in one go. I can do a lot. sort of just think about it as tightly as you can. We'll get to that in a minute. That makes sense. My whole childhood was horrible. My whole life was filled with trauma from Stephanie. Sarah, very sick at the moment, nausea, runs, just stopped my numbing protocol, protecting me from the deep sadness and hopelessness. We'll work on that in a minute. How essential that you can tune into something specific, money mind. That you can tune into. No, I've got whole protocols for all this stuff. Mike's asking about the money magic and the anxiety. I've got a whole protocol to help with all of that stuff, so we'll get to that. Massive anxiety, I will do it because it works very well actually, and I've got whole different ways, a millionaire mindset, and all these different things about how to bring money forward. And the anxiety is me deleting the programs of anxiety in your system, so you don't need to know what it is. I just delete them because I figured out a way to delete things, which is my new stuff, which is really cool. So massive anxiety from Sarah. Hard to leave the house and not sleeping. Hopefully we'll get you through. Yeah, do the anxiety one. I go through it. Charlene, I go through phases where I feel like I'm not in control of my emotions, but my mind has decided for me to feel low, etc. I'm aware of the triggers and things like that, but sometimes I can't put my finger on my energy shifts. Okay. Yeah, well, we'll get through. Just go to the bigger ones in a minute when we get there. Many layers of trauma my whole life from Sarah. Okay. Struggling now, not smoking. All right, so what we're going to do is I can do things at scale. So I want to figure out the best way to do things. What's the biggest trauma people have got? I can do multiple things at a time, and I can work on, or who feels like sharing? Because why don't I work on 3 people at a time? Are 3 people on screen comfortable coming on screen and then sharing their experience afterwards? Stephanie said, I'll share. I know Gale wanted to share, and there's one more person. Okay. And Javier. Okay, so let me just write down Stephanie, lovely Stephanie, Gale, and Javier. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. And Stephanie, can you just tell us a little bit about what's going on, please, darling? So this is an emotional trauma we're working on. Hopefully you've got an emotional trauma that you would like to no longer have. Okay, Stephanie, you're up, my
Hi
love.
there.
Hi.
Okay, so I don't know. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but the trauma that I have runs deep, which is exactly why I'm here. Like I've been through a lot of therapy, but long story short, I have like a complex sexual childhood trauma.
Okay.
I came from an abusive home. My parents were addicts. My mom committed suicide when I was 11. Yeah, and then my whole life, I had a lot of abuse, like a lot of different things. So yeah, so definitely a lot of really heavy childhood trauma that I've been trying so desperately to get rid of. And I wanted to book an appointment with you, but it's so expensive. And
well, I can do lots of things. Yeah, you can talk to my students as well. They can do what I can do.
Okay, yeah. And so so it's just tons of emotional trauma.
Okay. Have you got a specific situation or a specific assault that is you don't need to share it with us, but have you got one in your mind which is particularly awful, like the worst one? So can you sort of tune into in a minute, but do it at your speed, which is safe, so it doesn't, be too upsetting for you. So just sort of go in at a very gradual pace, especially for something as traumatic as what you've experienced. And I will just delete it from your system. So what will happen is you will you'll see it, but it will feel neutral of emotion. So the emotions will be gone. The facts is the facts. I mean, that's never going to change. And I wouldn't want to rewrite your history. But what it will be is when you look back at it again, you'll just feel at peace with it. It'll feel calm. It'll feel empty of emotion. Sound good?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Okay, so you choose you choose a really traumatic one for me, and we'll do that in just a second. Okay, I've got another message as well. Okay, we will go into different things. Gale, can you tell me about your issues?
Yes, indeed. Well, I've had many traumas in my life, but this particular one hurts my soul the very most. My children are my life, and my daughter has not talked to me in the past 8 years. And I can honestly tell you, I have done nothing to deserve this. But this one scene keeps playing in my mind over and over again. The last time we talked, I was at her home, sitting in a chair, and she was just bombarding me with negative, I can't remember what all it was, just over and over again. And to the point to where I had to take an early flight home. And it's something that I think about every day. It's with me every day. And I love her so much. And she has me blocked from her phone. She won't answer a letter. I have no way of contacting her for 8 years. Now we're talking about a few months would be, okay, that you get over it. No, this has been 8 years. And I was a good mother. I have to defend myself because there is no logical reason. And that's the trauma I have. If there was a reason, I could kind of understand it. But my desire is for both of us to find peace and forgiveness. I forgive her completely. In fact, I have a little heart next to my heart that she made for me when she was a little girl. I keep it next to my heart. I just want us both to have peace.
Okay, Gail. I'm sorry about that. That's awful too. Okay, lovely. So we're gonna just make you more at peace with the situation as it is, and hopefully that might open the doors for more peaceful resolutions. But it'll just make you not be suffering so much, which is the aim today. Okay, Javier.
Hi. So
Hey.
about my traumas, sometimes I think I'm not sure what are them, but one of the things that my father ran away when I was 1 or 2 days old, and I met him just 10 years ago, and I'm 54, so for 40 years or more, I didn't know anything about him. So I grew up with my mother and my grandmother, and there was a lot of tension with both of them. And I think that I was abused, sexual abuse, when I was 5 years old. And I had the feeling that I was looking for the love of my mother for my whole life, but I didn't find it. So now my mother passed away 1 year ago, and it was great because the relation was very balanced between us. But I think that something from the past is over there, and I was just looking after it.
What's still hurting you now? Because we need to focus. We're just going to do one event now, and then you can do more when we do the group healing in just a minute. So choose one of those which is the most upsetting to you. Which one is it?
Oh, I think that the thing of my father, because
Father running away, lovely.
Yeah.
No problem. Let's use that one then. Fantastic. Okay, so no problem at all. But we'll do a group healing, and you can literally throw all different things at me in a minute. But we're just going to show the demonstration just with these 3 people, and then we can work on various things simultaneously. Okay. Right, so Stephanie and Gale and Javier, we're just going to do this together. So what I need you to do is, at your own pace, start thinking about the situation and allow yourself to sort of go into it in a gradual way when it doesn't feel too upsetting to you. You don't necessarily, most of the time it's okay to sort of dive right in, but it depends how traumatized you are. But I'm going to delete the trauma from your systems. Okay, so, and then we'll check in. I may have to do a couple of rounds. It may go all in one go. Not sure. We'll see how it goes, and then we'll have a conversation and see how that one which was the most upsetting is feeling now. Okay, let's go. Let's start and see how we are. Okay. Okay, let's just have a little check-in and see where we are. Okay, let's start with Stephanie. How's that feeling, my love?
Oh, hi. Oh, I didn't realize I was still off mute. Sorry. I feel a bit more at peace, I think.
So if you think about the sexual assault, which was the one that we were focusing on, obviously
Yeah.
you can do more in a minute, but the particular singular event, that sexual assault that we were speaking of, how does that feel when you think about it? Does it still feel very upsetting? Is it, or how does it feel now?
No, I don't feel for that particular time. No,
Feels
don't
empty, feels neutral, right?
feels neutral. Yeah, that's a better word. Yeah.
That's what we're
Yeah.
looking for. Fantastic. Okay, great. I'm glad that one's done. We'll do more for you in a minute when we do the group. So fantastic. That's a great start. Gail, how are you?
Well, I think I can let myself off the hook now. I think all this trauma has been me. It's been me. And it really makes me sad because I've cried almost every day for the last 8 years, if you can believe that. But it's gone. I can't control what she does, but I can control what I do.
There you go.
That's just to send her as much love as possible.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful realization and breakthrough, my love.
Yeah.
But you're obviously still suffering a bit, but it feels much more neutral. But you know, we'll
It's
keep
very
going with it.
powerful.
Sorry?
It's very powerful. When
Yeah.
you can't talk to your daughter for 8 years,
Yeah.
you miss out on so much and you can't get that time back.
So let's focus on what you've missed then in the next, when we work with everybody. So work out so go through in a minute, like a movie montage of all the ways this may have affected you. So what you've missed out on and any sort of rejection or just the whole story of it from every different angle. All right. And then we'll check in with you at the end. So then we'll hopefully just clear it. But I'm glad you're feeling a lot more at peace with it.
Much better.
Fantastic. That's great. Javi. I'm just
Yes,
calling you. My friend's called Javier, so I'm calling you Javier.
yeah,
It's very
yeah,
familiar with
Javi,
me.
it's okay for me. It's great. I feel so much neutral.
That's what
So
we're looking for.
yeah. Some ideas came and went away from my head. Something that I had the feeling that some thoughts that were very deep in me are not longer with me.
That worked out beautifully,
Thank
didn't
you.
it? Right. That's fantastic. Is everybody else ready to go? Right. So what we're going to do is, let me just plan it so you know what we're doing. Think of a situation. Go for probably one of the worst things that's ever happened to you, my loves. Do it gradually at your pace, but grade it out of 10 for me, please. So think of something terrible that happened to you and grade it out of 10. So 10 being the most gut-wrenching, awful, and obviously 0, it's done. So choose something awful. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to delete the whole resonance, the whole story around it, the energy, the stuckness of the energy. But I'm going to go for a while. So if your one finishes, it's probably going to do a couple for each person. So if you're, depending on how big it is, I mean, it depends on the person. But then we're going to ask people at the end, and maybe people can put in the chat or come on screen and tell me that it's gone from a 10 to a 2 or hopefully a 0 or an 8 to very low numbers. We'd like to get rid of them entirely, really. So we want it to be neutral. So initially it's very upsetting, and then afterwards you feel at peace with it. You feel calm. It feels neutral. It's just like almost like just a surrendering to what is. And if you're watching this at home, that's no problem as well. So you can watch this later and still get the benefits. All righty. Does everyone know what they're doing? Is everyone cool with that so far? Makes sense. What do you do if you don't have a specific memory? Get as close to it as you can, sweetheart. I can work in a real big scale way. I can like scale things massively. So just do it as that's fine, Gail. It doesn't matter what it is. I can work on anything. I'm sorry that happened as well. But yeah, so just choose what one of the most upsetting things is, or the most upsetting thing is, and I'll just come along and neutralize it for you. All right, everybody, let's do it. So grade it out of 10. Think about it, and I will obliterate it for you, delete it from your consciousness. Let's go. So we've just had some latecomers come in. So hang on a second, there's more latecomers. I'm just going to mute everybody. Right. Okay, so for the latecomers, this will be available on YouTube later. However, I'm going to do a second round and make sure that you guys are in it. So what you need to do, all the latecomers and anyone else as well, is just choose a trauma which is very upsetting to you, grade it out of 10, 10 being the most upsetting, and then I'm going to delete it from your consciousness, or the emotions from your consciousness rather, so that when you think about the situation, it becomes factual but not upsetting anymore. It becomes neutral. So you think about it and you're at peace with it. It's like still water. So it's no longer absolutely like gut-wrenching. You're just, you're calm about it, and it's no longer having power over you and affecting your behavior ongoing. So we'll do another round, and first round for the new people and second round for anyone else. So for the original group, if your one's already gone, or it doesn't feel like it's that important anymore, then choose another one. That's no problem at all. So, if it was a 10, it's gone down to 4 and you've got another 8, choose the 8. Or you can keep going with it. This is your time. Also, if you do want to watch it again later, you can keep watching this video and getting benefits from the healing. So let's do round 2, and then we'll have a little chat and see how everyone's feeling. Okie dokie, let's go. Okay, let's do a little check-in. Who would like to say about their experience? Madeline?
The one that affects me more is I went to a boarding school and I was very physically developed for my age, and it was a mixed school, boys and girls, and I literally people tried to rape me every day, and I had to physically defend myself, and the headmaster and everything blamed me, and that bring a lot of things. But now it was the injustice of everything, and now I'm good.
Yay, I'm glad you're good. Fantastic. I'm sorry that happened to you though.
It's okay, thank you.
Naya, I'm sorry, Nyana. How do I say it? Yeah, but how do I put
Nyana.
Nyana? I did get it in one of them. Nyana, tell me.
I was thinking about my dad kind of having very, very arrogant, rude behavior with my mom when I was a child. In fact, all my life. I mean, I didn't know it was this deep until now. The thing is, I think it's already manifested physically. I have some right breast issues going on already, and which I think is usually a male related. So it's either my father or my previous relationships. And with and the funny part is, with my father, I'm in a very friendly relationship right now, very loving relationship. So I never thought that that there would be still trauma hanging on to him. And when I just thought about some of the events in the past, and let me say, he was not abusive to me. It was always with my mother, and I had to watch, grow up watching her cry every day. And this is, and I didn't know this was this deep.
Seems like there's a bit more to do on that. Yeah. We'll do another round in a minute. So it's feeling less, but it's what's happened is it was so compressed that you didn't realize probably how deep it was, and we've removed the top layers and suddenly it's blooming, unfortunately. All right, we'll do another round in a minute, so you'll be okay, sweetie. Okay. Anne?
I'm grieving for my mother, and I haven't noticed any difference.
Okay.
So do you have to believe this works for it to work?
It does help. You just need to drop into the emotions. Allow yourself to feel it. You know, one of the problems with grief is it can be so overwhelming. We can almost avoid it a bit. So allow yourself to feel the grief and allow yourself to let it go. There is a bit of a two-way street.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry it's not. Well, let's see if we can help you a bit more with that. Okay. Javi's had something nice to say. He said no words. Anything else you want to add? Have you got some words? Anything you'd like to add, Javier?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's been amazing, the feelings, and yes, I feel a kind of releasing. I think that there's something still, but okay, this monkey mind is it's in a better place now.
Yeah, lovely. Okay. All right. Should we do another round for those couple of people? I know some of you feeling better. Are most of you feeling better? I know that Anna and Diana have got a little bit more to do. How's everybody else feeling?
Good, good.
Good. Most of you are feeling a bit better, hopefully. Okay. Does anyone else want to comment before let's just do another round, and I just want to get those two people out of their problems because I don't want to leave anyone feeling traumatized still. That would be awful. So let's just do another round and then we can keep talking. Yeah, but Kirsty's saying there's a bit more to do, but mostly gone. And Lucy's saying feeling a lot calmer and more peaceful. Fantastic, fantastic. Okie dokie. So this is probably going to be the last round. So please don't open up huge cans of worms. So do something possibly a bit smaller if it's something very upsetting you've got. Or if or the same level as you did it before, if it worked very well. But I know a couple of us have got some issues. Not felt anything. I was jumping from one thing. Not felt anything. I was jumping from one thing to another. With jumping from one thing to another, that sometimes does happen. Simply because it empties and then you can't find it anymore. So you're there and you're thinking about it, then it's empty and you're like, oh, and your mind moves on to the next one. So see if you can see if they are still upsetting when you think about them now. That could be happening, Antonella. Mike's saying he's got an 8 to a 6, bit more to do, no problem. Need to focus on one, Antonella. Yes. Find an upsetting one and focus on that one until it's empty, and then you can skip on to another one. But you need to. It may also be that they've emptied out themselves. I'm not entirely sure. You'll have to work that out in your brain. Need to focus on one. Got one. Is saying Gale. I don't even know what that word is, my love. It was a 10 and now it's a 5. That's what we're looking for. Hang on just a second. A physical trauma. Sorry. Can you work on a physical trauma? We're not working on physical things today. We're doing emotional things. Sometimes you get lucky and it works across the board, but we're not working that specifically today. Stephanie was a 10 to a 5. Ashley is saying, focus on emotion because I don't remember where it's been blocked out. Yes, give it a go. Georgina had a big release of energy from my heart, felt wonderful. Can I focus on physical trauma, the aftermath? You can try it. Try anything. Yeah. the aftermath, if it's an emotional trauma, anything emotional trauma. Sarah said, I've been floored with liver and lung pain the few days, grief, vomiting, and the runs. Pain from my lungs and liver has gone. Well, that's nice. Great. Okie dokie. So that's through grief and sorrow and sadness. Let's do this though. Okay, so let's do another round. I'd like to get everyone down to, at least on their first trauma, to a much lower number. And if you're lucky enough to be able to hop and skip along, then go do something new. Because sometimes people get rid of these things very, very quickly. Okay, let's do the next round, everybody. Okay, how's that feeling? Let's go to Nayana first. How are you feeling, lovely? Is that feeling better?
Yeah, I kept saying, I let go of all this. I told my dad to let go of what he is holding on to. That's what my heart said.
Okay, but you're feeling better.
Yeah, a little bit
Good.
better.
I think it's going to take a minute to just process out of you, because I think it was a bit of a shock to you. It feels like that you didn't really realize it was there, and it was a bit of a shock, and like, holy moly, what's happened there? So
Absolutely. Because I have a good relationship with him right now.
yeah, so I just think a little bit of time for that to fully process through you is what's going on with you. Okay, Anne, are you feeling any better, sweetie? How long ago did your mother pass? Was it very recent?
About 14 months ago.
Okay.
I do feel a little bit better.
Do you have numbers? So was it a 10 before and now it's a 6, or?
I'd say probably only gone down about 1 or 2.
Okay, so what I suggest, Anne, is to rewatch this video afterwards and just keep going until it's gone. And anyone else who's got more traumas, then just keep watching this video, because it will work. It works in the video data. So just watch it a few more times and hopefully it will just get you down to a much lower number.
Okay, thank you.
Lovely. Thank you, Stephanie. Lovely. You've got your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to share my experience. So during what you were doing, I was each time I was focusing on, just sort of long story short, I was in a very abusive relationship for 7 years. And when I decided to leave, my fiance robbed my business, putting me out of work. And yeah, and then anyways, after that, I ended up in a violence against women shelter. It was terrible situation. And that ever since then, my nervous system has just been on fire. Like, I can't sleep every day. I'm just like shaking. I struggle with really bad heartburn. Just in this like last like maybe 15 minutes or so, I feel like, I don't know, like warm, and like my nervous system changed. I don't know how to explain it. And I just feel like warm, like instead of like shaky. And when I think about everything, I like, it was at a 10 and then it went down to like an 8 and then a 5. And now I just feel at peace.
Wow.
And that was that was a huge trauma that I've been carrying for the last like few years. And I've been trying to heal from it. And it's been really difficult. So thank you so much. I'm grateful for you.
Welcome. Wow. I'm glad to hear it, Stephanie. That's a whole hell of a lot of stuff going on with you. Goodness. Okay, lovely. I'm just going to read some of the comments here. Let's see. Mike, so hang on a second. Let's see where we were. I've been on the floor, I read that one. Round one, traumatic. So this is from Joe. Round one, traumatic dispute with mum recently. Felt it in the throat. Didn't even have time to fully tap in rage into the rage, and it was gone straight away. Whoop. Great. Next one is Mike. Will just listening to the video be as effective as watching it? Listening to the video. I think it's just in the data. The video will be playing. I don't know how you do that because it's going to be on YouTube, but you can sort of have it playing and not be watching it per se. But actually, it would transfer to podcasts. Yeah, listening would be fine. Had to work that out for you. Joe is saying round two. Passing of my dad 8 years ago, felt it in the heart center, pain, grief, again, hardly connected to the feeling, trauma, and it just left me. Fantastic, Joe, glad to hear it. Patra, I'm feeling much better, was shaking, energy was moving. Gale, it was a 10 and now it's a 2, fantastic, Gale. Mike was just thinking you're listening on your phone, for example. It'll be fine. Kirsty, my emotional trauma relating to financial decrease from 8 to a 3. Well, that's lovely. And there we go. Lovely. Okay, so what do I have to say? I am going to, I think everyone's on my mailing list. If not, oh, you must be on Telegram or my mailing list or Instagram. You're on one of them somewhere. So if not, then please do join my mailing lists. And yeah, for anyone watching at home, do subscribe. But it's if you want to do a course and learn how to dissolve traumas, then please do. Everything's on my website, divineempowerment.com. And you can use the code honey10 to get 10% off the courses or healings with me or my students. Everything's on divineempowerment.com. Divineempowerment.com. And I will be doing, I think, anxiety and money magic. Is there anything else that people would like me to do, group healings that people would like me to do on specific situations? Does anyone have anything that I was wondering what it is? Physical issues are harder. Antonia is saying, I can do the back pain. There's a back pain video on my YouTube. Kirsty says I felt sick, very sick around, very sick. And feelings in my heart feel very calm now. Fantastic. Confessions and world affairs. What about shame? Maybe I could do a shame healing. I think shame is a big one that people have got. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Can we do some upper back healing at some point? You remind us of backache. Activating DNA. Activating DNA, my loves, there's all the courses. Come and do my courses if you want your DNA changed. Abandonment. Yeah, not good enough. And not good. Yeah, that's great. I'm going to do that. Depression, maybe. Oh, just sadness. I wouldn't want to call it depression on this. I would say sadness. Yeah, we can do that. We've got some great ideas. Has anyone got any questions for me? Has anyone got any questions for me? I don't know about the effects of the jib jabs. That's a very complicated one. I would love to be able to do that on mass. I don't know. Any questions? Any comments? Anyone want to know anything? Is everyone feeling a bit better at least?
Yes.
And some of you a lot better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great. I kind of feel like things that I was thinking of aren't a part of my story anymore. Very bizarre from Charlene. Yes, it no longer exists within your consciousness. So you're going to think of it and it's going to feel a bit weird. So you're going to think about it and it's just going to be like, what? And then there'll be situations when you ordinarily would have been triggered by whatever may have happened to you. And you're not going to get triggered. And then you're going to sort of go to bed that night and go, hang on a minute, I didn't get triggered by this. That's really odd. And you're actually having to relearn how you behave because a lot of things are coping mechanisms. This is especially true of the anxiety healing that we're going to do. One of my students had quite bad anxiety, and I fixed it very quickly. I was walking with her, and I just like figured out how to do it, and I did it very quickly. And she said the weirdest thing about it is having to notice how many of her behaviors were coping strategies, because a lot of it was coping strategies. And she's actually, worked a way around her anxiety, which is working very well for her. But she's now she has to change her behavior and go, hang on a minute, that was a coping strategy, and maybe I don't need to do that. Maybe I don't need to act in that way. So she's having to unpick quite a lot of her personality, or what we've assumed is your personality, but it's actually coping mechanisms, which is quite a strange one, because you're used to this routine in the way of thinking. So that's really interesting. So you'll notice that things just won't be reacting and happening in the way they may have previously. Let's have a look at this. What can we do on a daily basis? Gale's asking. I don't know. I recommend the courses, honestly. Learning how to do this stuff for yourself is really, really important. Level 1, you learn how to dissolve traumas. You'll be able to go through your stuff, and as soon as something happens, you'll be able to delete it immediately, and it's evolving your energy system. With the solar flash has begun. It started on the 21st of December, and it's amping up through March and finishing in June. Like, this has already begun. So the faster you can evolve your energy system, the easier the whole awakening process is going to be. And this, as far as I know, is the fastest way of doing everything, because you can literally sit and watch videos in your pajamas, and it's really easy. And then your system becomes stronger, and things bounce off you in a different way. Once level 3 has got themes like all of your grief, rejection, betrayal, abandonment, all of those things. Once you clear all of that stuff out of your system, you stop experiencing it. If it does happen, it bounces off you in a way that you would never have seen before. It's much softer when something does happen. And 2, you're not attracting it with this dark side of law of attraction. You're just not attracting those sorts of situations. They don't need to play out in the way they may have before. And occasionally they do, and you're much more cool about it. So that makes a big, big difference. So I don't know, I can't recommend the courses highly enough, and not just because I want to sell them, but because they're really beneficial for people and their mental health and their happiness in general. As I said, well, level 1's 333. If you buy 1, 2, and 3, it's 799. You can use the code HONEY10 for 10% off those ones. Okay, so Charlene is asking me a question. Let me see what this says. I kind of feel like things that I was thinking of aren't a part of me. I've said that one. Feeling bizarre. Yes, you're an angel. Thank you, Stephanie. Yep. I've got wings. Great healing. Thank you so much, Mike. One other suggestion: nothing ever works on you. I don't know what that is, Mike. I'm sorry. So just watch the videos and it's effective this live. Yes, indeed. Thank you is amazing. My mind feels blank now thinking about it. That's what we're looking for. At peace. Karen, how do we rewatch this, please? I am going to post it onto my YouTube, and I'm going to send it out in the mailing list. So make sure you're signed up to the mailing list, and I'll put it on Telegram. It will be everywhere. We've just released another video today. It'll either come out on Sunday or Wednesday next week. So you can do that then. Also, if you sign up to the mailing list on my website, divineempowerment.com, there's a video dissolving traumas, and it's just that without the other conversations, because obviously we're talking to a number of people. So if you just go to divineempowerment.com, sign up to the mailing list, you get sent a video, and you can watch that as many times as possible. It's a shorter video, so you don't have to fast forward through the chatting of other people. Being falsely accused of something, is that what we could, yeah. That's something annoying, isn't it, Karen? You get that? Limiting beliefs, ancestral stuff. Good. Assisting eyesight. Physical things are much harder to do. Yeah, physical illnesses is significantly harder. The emotional stuff's much easier to do on scale. When you do your magic, do we watch or keep your eyes closed? Doesn't matter. Being bullied, watch the video and go through that. Healing sounds. What am I doing? Yeah, I forget to breathe. It's nothing more glamorous than that. I'm sorry. What am I doing when I'm making these sounds? I literally forget to breathe. It's really embarrassing, but that's the truth of it. I literally sort of hold my breath and do the work, and then I have to breathe deeply. When I remember to breathe, because it goes through my throat, so I can't do like mouth breathing. I have to go through my nose. I hold my breath, and then I just basically hold my breath for no particular reason. If I actually am conscious of it and breathe through my nose, then it's absolutely fine, and I don't make those noises. It's my own silliness. There's nothing more glamorous about that answer. Lucy has said, thank you so much for doing this session. Amazing to know more and do more. Amazing. Let the trust, the abandonment, and forgive. Thank you. Abusive relationships. Thank you so much. Lovely. Any questions before we close? Because that is the hour. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you for everyone's comments. Javier, you're very welcome. I'm glad everybody's feeling a bit better, or a lot better in some of your cases. Anything else anybody wants to know? Would like to know more about the snake story, to be honest. It's on, you can Google it. It's on here. It was in You magazine. If you just Google Antonia Harman snake, you'll find it. It's there. Yeah, watching the videos has affected the life. Thank you, thank you. Cool. I think we've got everything. So if anyone has any more questions or comments, please put them in the comments below on YouTube, because it's always useful for people who are asking questions, and I do go through all the comments and will answer questions. So it's useful for everyone to know what your question is, because they may have the same question, rather than emailing me personally if it's not too personal a question. And I'm going to do some more of these because I think they are useful, and we had quite a lot of people, which is fantastic. Okay, yes, I will be doing lots of things. All right, my loves, I'll see you later. Thank you very much for being here, and I hope and I wish you well. See you later, everybody.
Bye.
Okay.